Today's threats are not as stark as they were half a century ago, but the struggle for freedom and security and human dignity, that struggle goes on.
Charles, the focus of President Obama's speech was a new call for arms reduction, a one-third reduction in the nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia. What do you think of that?
The president is continually amazing. Of all the issues on earth, you got Syria ablaze, Jordan is reeling, Iran is going nuclear, Egypt is under the sway of the Brotherhood. You've got, all these crises in the world. And what is the least important issue on the planet? Nuclear arms reduction. There is zero chance of nuclear war between the United States and Russia. It isn't even an issue. We already are in a nuclear balance. The idea that we're going to be any safer if we have 1,000 rather than 1,500 warheads is absurd. So why is he doing this? Number one, he's been obsessed with nuclear weapons and reducing them ever since he was a student at Columbia and thought that the freeze, which was the stupidest strategic idea of the 80s, wasn't enough of a reduction. And second, because I think that's all he's got. I mean, he has the famous reset with Russia, which has been a disaster. Russia is helping Iran, it's helping Assad, it's working against us on all of the fronts. And so he thinks he can actually distract the world and perhaps produce a treaty which will mean nothing as a way to say, I did something. I find it rather amazing that he would even try it, because it's not going to work.
Juan? Was talking about nuclear disarmament or reductions silly, absurd?
No, not at all. I think it's a very important issue. But to say, I want to see that other countries also join in this idea of reducing nuclear stockpiles. And I think that comment is directly aimed at Pakistan.
But Juan, it's precisely because there are other countries like the Pakistanis who have weapons, which makes the idea of a reduction in the U.S. and Russia alone, which is all that we're talking about here, not only useless but dangerous. The reason that Putin is reluctant is because he said there are other countries in the world. If we reduce our arsenals, and the Russians do, and the Pakistanis and the Indians and the Chinese and others increase it, and Iran, of course, then our deterrent is not going to work because it'll be low. The deterrence against Russia is now irrelevant. It's not an adversary in that sense. It's the other adversaries who are the danger, and it's precisely why you don't want to have a reduction.
Well, I think that's why you want to have people, you want to have the United States and Russia as the leading holders of nuclear armaments set the pace for a reduction. And I think other countries around the world have long said, why are you guys telling us that we shouldn't have nukes when you have nukes?
And the mullahs are going to look at us and the Russians reducing our numbers and say, oh, then we ought to reduce ours as well. That is preposterous.
Let me, I love it when he says preposterous. It sort of ends the conversation.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, it was a compliment, actually.
I'm like most Americans, horrified that my government has gotten out of control and is persecuting people for their religious and their political beliefs, and it needs to end, and it needs to end now.
Do we trust the IRS with Obamacare and our health care? We need to abolish the IRS, and together we can get it done.
It tells you that harassment, persecution, as with, for example, historically religious sects, increases the fervor. I think this is going to help to revive the Tea Party. It never went away, but it was at its peak in the 2010 election, in 2009 and 2010. But I think it tells the world, Americans, it's alive and well. And, it's interesting, the history of how the elite media and, elite opinion has looked at them. It began by ignoring them, and then it ridiculed the Tea Party as a bunch of yahoos. And then it demonized them as guys who are out to shoot you. There's a shooting in Aurora, and then who does ABC News look up? It looks at the list of Tea Party people to see if the name will match. So it's assumed it's kind of angry white male, and now all of a sudden it's been harassed. So you only harass an element, as was harassed by the IRS, if it's important. I think it is important. I think it's a good influence on our politics, and this is a way in which it's reviving itself.
This has been a Sunfish production.